Hello, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to talk about how to do section view 2 today, and this is on page 61 of the workbook. So you'll notice this time, the last one we had the cutting plane line going on the top view. This time we have the cutting plane going through the right side view. So it's really basically the same thing. If you looked at the top, it would still be cutting across here. So we're doing a similar method to what we did on the first one. You're going to need a straight edge. And again, like we did the last time, we're going to take our edges and just kind of transfer them down with a nice thin, barely visible, remember, not much pressure on your pencil, construction lines that show us where these edges are of any feature that we might want to make. Outside edges of holes, edges of rectangular things, all that stuff. And we're just making construction lines from each point downward and each point on the right. And when you're done, you should end up with something like this, with our lines coming down from features here and also from features there. Now, to help you visualize, don't forget that you have this in your Onshape that you saved with this guy. Remember that this is called section view part 2. To show what this section is going to look like, remember, you may have already done this, but we're going to make a plane, a mid plane, by clicking on the two opposite edges that we wanted in the middle of. Now remember, on this time, it's the right side view that has the cutting plane in it. Go ahead and check that off. It goes right through the middle like this. But then you can go towards your front and right click and say, I want to section view, and you go to that plane. Now we can see what it is that we're going to section through and what's going to cut. Now, the one thing that's not going to happen is Onshape by default is showing tangent lines, but this little line right here shouldn't show up because it's tangent. It's not creating an edge. So notice that we do have our all the way around the outside. So I think I'll start with that when we go here to box in our piece. Whoops, I hate it when I... All right, whoops, drew some stuff on there I didn't mean to. Okay, so here we go. So really this thing goes all the way around for our profile. So we're going to box that whole thing in. You can speed up this video if you don't need to listen to this part. And now we've got all of our object lines that represent the outside profile, since we see all of those edges there. Okay, remember, these are darker. It's a little hard to see. I've got my light on. Let's see if I can make this look a little better without that. Okay, it might be a little grainy now, but we can see what's going on a little better. All right, now this surface, flat surface right here, comes down to right where we see this hidden line right here. From this point to this point over here. Darken that whole surface in, and we do see the whole flat surface that whole way, so we can draw this in because it's all flat all the way across. Now we've got a hole that goes through there from the outside of this, and it goes all the way through here. So let's line that up a little better. But on this surface, it actually doesn't start until it gets down here to this point. Okay, so that the hole, because see that the hole is down a little farther in here, so we have to kind of come across from this lowest point, and that's where that hole is going to continue to go down. Okay, so we're starting to figure this stuff out. The edges on each side of that biggest hole can go up now. And where we see those, again, you can go back and look at your at this to get you some idea of what this thing looks like. All right, now this line, this surface down here, let's see if I can get a little. Now, this surface that's down here at the bottom is flat all the way across, so we're going to make that surface next. Now it goes out here and it ends right here at this point. I may have even made a mistake because I know there's a little part right here. And yeah, I did because I went too far. It actually ends here just before that point. There is a little point right here. I forgot to make that before where there's an offset here. So it shouldn't have gone that far. I should have only gone to this point. This is where a good eraser comes in handy. Sometimes these pencils or erasers get old. So then it actually, the part essentially ends right here. Now we can see around it, but there's parts that are in air, but we're not cutting through anything anymore because that cut ends right here. All right, now to see this little part right here, it actually is a little bit farther where this point comes down and then goes to here. So there is this little jog right there. And finally, we'll see the rest of this curved surface here. Okay. Now, again, there's no line right here because where this comes into the hole is tangent. Okay, so we've got it. Looks good. I hate that smudge. I'm going to have to find my better eraser when I'm done making this video. And now we need to look at where things have been cut into. So we've cut through solid material right through here. That's this area. And then we've cut through solid material here, which is this area. And we're going to make our section lines. Remember, they're thin lines, about 1/8 of an inch apart. Try and keep them parallel. You can use a straight edge if you're really trying to keep consistent, but I am not worried about that. And again, we're showing where have we cut into solid material. And I'm starting to get off parallel again. So it doesn't have to be absolutely perfect because we're looking at the concept. All right, and there is our finished section view of section view number 2.